So, fuck. So I'm sitting here. It is 10:17 at night, and I've just kind of finished mixing together my first two tracks. Truly, I think, actually having finished them. Roller Coaster and The Abyss, both of which are going on my album, if I ever finish it. Which I plan on calling in a moment Tales from the Basement or From the Basement with Love. Those are two ideas I'm putting around it. But I'm thinking to myself, and I'm actually talking to my dog here, because she's in the room with me, about what I'm trying to do and how I'm feeling about it. Because I've realized in this moment, having spent the last hour looking at comparing myself to artists, specifically Billie Eilish, and thinking about the fact that she went viral completely on accident on SoundCloud, and thinking about the ways that people who do music nowadays really get popular, and about distribution and all of this bullshit. I'm thinking about all this, and I'm sitting here, and I'm getting overly emotional, I feel, and attached to the idea of my succeeding. Because this entire time, right, I've been telling myself, I've been pleading with myself, I've been desperately trying to get myself to believe that I'm going at this project just simply because I want to and because it sounds like something fun to do and I want to spend time on it, right? It's just something to fuck around with until college starts at the end of the month. But what I'm realizing as I'm sitting here talking at my dog about this while she's trying to sleep, bless her, is that that's not true, right? The whole impetus itself for this project and for the whole impetus for my desire to make music was, and before this even happened, this thing, I did not care whatsoever about making music. But the whole impetus was realizing that Olivia Rodrigo was younger than I was, and getting pissed off about the fact that she couldn't be so successful when I wasn't even out here trying to shoot my shot in a metaphorical sense, right? And I realize now, after having thought about this, that what this tells me, what the whole situation surrounding the impetus of my project tells me is that it as much as I wanted to tell myself and I wanted to think to myself that this was just a fun thing to do, that I wasn't taking very seriously, that was always a lie from the very beginning. The whole point of this wasn't to just fuck around and have fun for my last month of my last month and a half, I guess, of being at home. What it actually was trying desperately to prove to myself that I am capable of succeeding in something that interests me. And maybe even going a bit further than that, trying to prove to myself that I am somehow extraordinary. I don't know if that's even the case, but it's just coming to my mind right now, right? Because what pissed me off, the whole impetus of the situation, as I said, what pissed me off and what got me going in the first place was the idea that someone my age, even I think 4 months younger than me, 4 months younger than me, could be more successful in this. Could be finding as much successful as I wasn't even trying. And that got my goat. But what I realized is because because the whole impetus of this was that anger, that kind of feeling of, oh, I could if I tried, so I'll try, kind of thing. I realized that perhaps it was less so a feeling of me being like, hey, it could be something fun to do with my summer, and more something along the lines of, perhaps I feel dissatisfied in the way that my life is going, which is an idiotic feeling to begin with. I'm only 18 years old, right? There are the vast majority of people in this world that don't have any fucking semblance of what they're doing with their life when they're 18, and here I am, already knowing what I want to do, or thought I knew about the political science and all that, and I'm honestly with a leg up to most people, but still seeing that there were people, and just feeling like I was somehow wasting my potential in my life, and now to come to the realization that this particular goal, which I'm trying to aspire or strive to, is not well, it is a little bit, but almost not at all contingent. Success in this field is not at all contingent upon skill alone. It's something that perhaps attacks me on an emotional, even existential level, because I realize that the entire the entire foundation upon which I built my goal is based around the idea that if I tried hard enough and I did a good enough job, I would succeed. But that's simply not the case when you really down to it in this particular field, because, like I said, you have people like Billie Eilish, or even to a lesser degree Olivia Rodrigo, who go viral almost by accident, right? The whole story is that Ocean Eyes wasn't even supposed to be out there, it was just on SoundCloud to share it with some friends. And then an overnight sensation, or how Driver's License was kind of put out into the world on a whim, like, hey, maybe it'll succeed, maybe it won't, and it fucking did. And just this idea it runs entirely contrary to my preconceived notions, if you will, about what I'm doing, in that I need to prove myself. And in order to prove myself, I have to at least have some kind of premise upon the fact that it's skill-based in some way, which it is a little bit, right? You're not going to get objectively awful artists succeeding, unless you're in country or mumble rap, but that's objectively awful. But what you are going to get is the cream of the crop is not always the best. And no matter how hard you try in this particular field, in this particular industry, there's still a large, perhaps not a majority, but a sizable plurality of the percentages that go towards success is not skill, but it's rather luck. So, which of course goes back to the whole thing of me stressing out and being all worked up about, if I post it, it's not going to succeed, and it's just going to get lost in the endless stream. That might not fucking happen, right? You miss. I don't know who the exact person who said this is. I think it's a basketball player or something. But like the old quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So, regardless of how I feel like shit's gonna go, I should still release what I have. But it's just kind of disheartening to realize that, to like have it full, because it's something I always knew, but just to have it fully sink in and to fully self-reflect on the fact that this whole luck thing runs contrary to the very foundations upon which I built my desire to succeed, right? And that's what I think I'm coming to the realization in the last couple of days, specifically right now. So that's this kind of audio journal entry. That's it. That's all I got.